Jin-Woo Kim stared at his ship's broken control panel and cursed under his breath. Sparks flew from the damaged wires, and the engine made strange grinding noises. His small bounty hunter ship was falling apart around him, and he was lost in the middle of nowhere. "Great," he muttered, hitting the panel with his fist. Just great. He had been chasing a simple target, a smuggler who stole medicine from a colony world. It should have been easy money. But the smuggler's ship had some kind of fancy shield that made Jin-Woo's old weapons useless. During the fight, something important broke in his engine room. Now Jin-Woo was drifting in space near a huge asteroid field. His partner, Yuna Park, was back on their home station, fixing their other ship. She always told him to be more careful, but Jin-Woo never listened. He liked taking risks. Through his cracked window, Jin-Woo saw something that made his eyes go wide. A massive space station hung in the darkness between the asteroids. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The station looked like it was grown instead of built, with smooth curves and strange symbols glowing on its surface. "What the hell is that?" Jin-Woo whispered. He tried to turn his ship away, but the engine died completely. His ship was being pulled toward the station by some kind of tractor beam. Jin-Woo grabbed his weapons and prepared for trouble. Inside the station, alarms were going off everywhere. Kael'tor, the guildmaster, stood 8 feet tall with green scales and yellow eyes. He looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs. His claws clicked on the metal floor as he moved through the command center. "Report!" Kael'tor growled in his deep voice. "Master, we have detected a human ship," said another hunter. "It appears to be damaged." Kael'tor's eyes narrowed. Humans were not welcome here. This was the territory of the Galactic Hunters Guild, the most elite organization in known space. For thousands of years, the guild had hunted the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. They had rules, traditions, and honor. Humans had none of these things. "Bring the human aboard," Kael'tor ordered. "We will question him and then send him away." In another part of the station, a young alien named Thessara was trying to hide her fear. She looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and big black eyes. Her skin was purple and shiny. She was new to the guild, a neophyte who had never killed anything dangerous. Thessara was supposed to be brave, but she was terrified. All the other young hunters seemed so confident and strong. She felt weak and useless. Today was supposed to be her first real training mission, but she did not feel ready. Jin-Woo's ship was pulled into the station's docking bay. As he stepped out with his hands up, dozens of alien hunters pointed weapons at him. They looked like creatures from nightmares, some with tentacles, others with too many eyes, and some that seemed to be made of living metal. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Jin-Woo said calmly. "My ship broke down, I just need repairs and I'll leave." A tall alien with blue skin and silver armor stepped forward. "Humans are not permitted in guild space. You will be questioned and expelled." But before anyone could move, the station shook violently. Emergency lights flashed red and a horrible roar echoed through the halls. "Void Kraken!" someone screamed. Through the docking bay windows, Jin-Woo saw something that made his blood freeze. A creature the size of a building was attached to the station's hull. It looked like a giant squid made of shadow and stars. Its tentacles were as thick as tree trunks and its eyes glowed with evil light. The Void Kraken was one of the most dangerous predators in space. It fed on the life force of other creatures, draining them until they were empty husks. Most spacers would run from such a monster. Jin-Woo did not run. "Everyone get back!" he shouted, pulling out his plasma rifle. The alien hunters laughed. "Foolish. Human," one of them said. "Your primitive weapons cannot harm a Void Kraken." But Jin-Woo was already moving. He had fought these things before, back when he was in the Colonial Defense Force. He knew their weak spots. The Kraken's tentacles smashed through the docking bay wall. Alien hunters scattered in panic, but Jin-Woo stood his ground. He aimed carefully and fired at the base of the tentacle, where it connected to the creature's body. His shots hit their mark. The Kraken roared in pain and anger. "The eyes!" Jin-Woo yelled to the other hunters. "Shoot the eyes!" But most of the aliens were too shocked to move. They had never seen a human fight before. They expected him to run or hide like a coward. Thessara was frozen with terror in the corner of the docking bay. A piece of debris fell toward her, and she could not move to avoid it. She was going to die. Jin Woo saw her danger. Without thinking, he ran across the room and tackled the young alien out of the way. The debris crashed where she had been standing. "Stay down," Jin Woo told her, then turned back to fight the monster. The Void Kraken was getting angrier. More tentacles broke through the walls. The station's weapons were firing, but they were not doing much damage. Jin Woo noticed something the others had missed. The creature was hurt on its left side, probably from fighting another predator. Old scars marked its flesh, and one eye was already damaged. "There." Jin Woo pointed at the wounded eye. "Hit it there." This time, some of the alien hunters listened. They concentrated their fire on the Kraken's weak spot. The creature screamed and began to pull away from the station, but it was not giving up. The Kraken prepared for one final attack, gathering energy in its remaining good eye. If it fired that energy beam, it would cut the station in half. Jin Woo saw what was happening. He grabbed a thermal grenade from his belt, one of the few high-tech weapons he owned. Without hesitation, he activated it and threw it directly into the Kraken's open mouth. "Everyone take cover!" he shouted. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. The Void Kraken convulsed once and then went still. Its massive body began to drift away from the station. For a moment, there was complete silence in the docking bay. Then, Kael'tor stepped forward. The Guildmaster stared at Jin Woo with new respect in his yellow eyes. "You saved us," Kael'tor said slowly. "You fought when others fled. You protected the weak." Jin Woo shrugged. "It's what anyone would do." "No," said another hunter. "It is what a human would do." Thessara approached Jin Woo carefully. She was still shaking from fear, but her big black eyes were full of wonder. "Thank you," she said in her clicking voice. "You saved my life." Jin Woo smiled at her. "That's okay, kid. We all get scared sometimes." Kael'tor watched this exchange with interest. According to guild law, humans were not allowed to participate in hunts or training. They were considered too emotional, too reckless, too unpredictable. But Jin Woo had just done something remarkable. He had fought a Void Kraken without fear. He had put himself in danger to save others. And most importantly, he had helped a Neophyte when she needed it most. "Human," Kael'tor said formally. "What is your name?" "Jin Woo Kim." "Jin Woo Kim, you have shown courage in battle. The guild owes you a debt." Jin Woo looked around at all the alien faces staring at him. Some looked angry, others curious, and a few seemed almost respectful. "I don't need anything," Jin Woo said. "Just fix my ship and I'll get out of your way." But Kael'tor was thinking. The young neophyte Thessara had been struggling with her training. She was too afraid, too careful. The traditional methods were not working with her. Maybe it was time to try something different. "Perhaps," Kael'tor said slowly, "there is another way you could repay this debt." 3 days had passed since the Void Kraken attack. Jin Woo was still on the guild station waiting for his ship to be repaired. He spent most of his time in the guest quarters, trying to stay out of everyone's way. The alien hunters did not know what to think of him. Some whispered that he was dangerous, others said he was lucky. A few even said he might be useful. But Jin Woo did not care what they thought. He just wanted to fix his ship and get back to work. Kael'tor had other plans. The Guildmaster stood in his private chamber, looking at reports about Thessara. The young neophyte was failing her training badly. She had been with the guild for 6 months, but she could not complete even the simplest hunting tasks. "She is too afraid," said Velkoth, one of the senior trainers. He looked like a wolf with silver fur and red eyes. "Perhaps she should return to her homeworld." "No," Kael'tor said firmly. "Her species has honor. Her family has served the guild for generations. There must be another way." Velkoth shook his head. "Master, we have tried everything. Traditional methods, advanced simulations, even meditation training. Nothing works. She freezes with fear every time she faces danger. Kaltor remembered how Jin Woo had saved Thessara during the Kraken attack. The human had not hesitated. He had acted on instinct, protecting someone weaker than himself. What if we tried something different? Kaltor asked. Different how, Master? What if we let the human help train her? Velkoth's red eyes went wide with shock. Master, that is impossible. The ancient laws forbid humans from participating in guild activities. They are not worthy of our traditions. But he saved her life, Kaltor pointed out, and he fought the Kraken without fear. He was lucky, nothing more. Kaltor was quiet for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. Bring me the guild law books, he ordered. I want to study them. Meanwhile, Jin Woo was walking through the station's corridors when he heard someone crying. The sound was coming from a small training room. He looked inside and saw Thessara sitting alone in the corner. The young alien had her forearms wrapped around her knees. Her purple skin looked pale, and her big black eyes were wet with tears. Hey, Jinwoo said softly. You okay, kid? Thessara looked up surprised. Oh, Jinwoo, I did not see you there. Jinwoo sat down beside her. What's wrong? I failed again, Thessara said sadly. Today I was supposed to hunt a small cave crawler. It was not even dangerous, but when I saw it, I could not move. I just stood there like a statue. Cave crawlers are pretty scary, Jinwoo said. They have those big teeth and claws. But I am supposed to be a hunter. Thessara clicked her mandibles in frustration. My family has been in the guild for hundreds of years. My grandmother was a legendary hunter. She killed a star dragon when she was my age. Jinwoo nodded. That's a lot of pressure. The other neophytes laugh at me. They say I should go home and become a farmer instead of a hunter. What do you want to do? Jinwoo asked. Thessara was quiet for a moment. I want to be brave like my grandmother. I want to protect people, but every time I face danger, I get so scared that I cannot think. Jinwoo smiled. You know what? Being scared is normal. I get scared all the time. You do? Thessara looked surprised. But you fought the Void Kraken without fear. Are you kidding? I was terrified. Those things can drain your life force just by looking at you. I thought I was going to die. Then why did you fight it? Jinwoo thought about it. Because being scared and being brave are not opposites. You can be both at the same time. The trick is not to let fear control you. I do not understand. Fear is like pain, Jinwoo explained. It tells you when something is dangerous, but you do not have to let it stop you from doing what is right. Before Thessara could respond, they heard footsteps in the hallway. Kaltor appeared in the doorway with two other guild members. Jinwoo Kim, the guildmaster said formally. I need to speak with you. Jinwoo stood up. What about? I have a proposition for you. They went to Kaltor's office, a large room filled with trophies from ancient hunts. The walls were covered with pictures of legendary hunters and their kills. I have been studying our laws, Kaltor began. There is an old rule that allows outsiders to serve as consultants for training purposes. Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. Consultants? You would help train our neophytes. Specifically, you would work with Thessara. Wait, what? Jinwoo was confused. You want me to train your hunters? But I thought humans were not allowed in the guild. You are not joining the guild, Kaltor explained. You would be a temporary consultant. The law allows this in special circumstances. One of the other guild members, a creature that looked like a walking crystal, spoke up. Master, this is madness. Humans know nothing about honor or tradition. They fight like animals. Perhaps, Kaltor said calmly, but this human saved lives when others could not act. His methods may be different, but they are effective. The crystal being glowed brighter with anger. Zemoth objects to this plan. It goes against everything the guild stands for. So this was Zemoth, Jinwoo realized. He had heard other hunters talking about him. Zemoth was one of the most respected hunters in the guild. His species, the Helixians, were made of living energy. They considered themselves superior to all other life forms. Your objection is noted, Kaltor said. But the decision is mine to make. Zemoth's glow became even brighter. If you insist on this foolishness, then I demand proof that human methods are worthy of the guild. What kind of proof? Kaltor asked. A contest. Let the human train his neophyte using his primitive methods. I will train mine using proper guild traditions. We will see which approach produces better results. Jinwoo looked back and forth between the two aliens. Hold on. Nobody asked me if I even want to do this. Kaltor turned to him. Will you help us? Thessara needs guidance that our traditional methods cannot provide. Jinwoo thought about the scared young alien he had just been talking to. She reminded him of some of the new recruits he had trained back in the defense force. Young, frightened, but with potential if someone just gave them the right kind of help. What would I have to do? Jinwoo asked. Teach her to hunt, Kaltor said simply. Help her overcome her fear. And if I say no? Then we will repair your ship and you can leave. No hard feelings. Jinwoo was quiet for a long moment. He thought about Yuna back home, probably wondering where he was. He thought about all the bounties he was missing while stuck on this station. But then he thought about Thessara, sitting, alone and crying because she felt like a failure. Okay, Jinwoo said finally. I'll do it, but I do things my way. Zemoth pulsed with angry light. Very well, human, but when your student fails, you will leave guild space forever. And when she succeeds, Jinwoo said with a grin, you'll have to admit that maybe humans know a thing or two about fighting. Kaltor nodded approvingly. The contest will take place in 1 week. Each trainer will have their neophyte hunt a shadow maw in the Titan asteroid field. Jinwoo had never heard of a shadow maw, but it sounded dangerous. What exactly is a shadow maw? A predator that feeds on fear, Kaltor explained. They are attracted to scared prey. The more frightened you are, the stronger they become. Jinwoo whistled softly. So you want me to train someone who is afraid of everything to hunt something that gets stronger when you are scared? Exactly. Well, Jinwoo said, this should be interesting. Later that day, Jinwoo found Thessara in the same training room. She was practicing with a plasma rifle, but her shots were going everywhere except the target. Terrible form, Jinwoo observed. Thessara jumped, startled. Oh, you surprised me. That's part of the problem, Jinwoo said. You are too tense. You expect everything to go wrong. But things do go wrong. That is why I am scared all the time. Jinwoo picked up a rifle and aimed at the target. His shot hit the center perfectly. How did you do that? Thessara asked. Practice, but also I do not fight the fear, I use it. I do not understand. Jinwoo sat down beside her. Fear makes your heart beat faster. It makes you more alert. It gives you energy. Instead of trying to get rid of it, you can use that energy to help you. The guild teachers say fear is weakness. The guild teachers are wrong, Jinwoo said bluntly. Fear is information. It tells you to be careful. But being careful and being paralyzed are two different things. Thessara looked thoughtful. Will you really train me? Yeah, kid. But fair warning. My methods are nothing like what you are. Used to. Good, Thessara said firmly. The old methods do not work for me anyway. Jinwoo smiled. Maybe this would work out after all. 1 week had passed since the contest was announced. Jinwoo had spent every day training with Thessara, and the results were surprising everyone on the station. Instead of teaching her the guild's formal hunting techniques, Jinwoo focused on simple things. He taught her to breathe slowly when scared. He showed her how to use her forearms as an advantage instead of a disadvantage. Most importantly, he taught her that protecting others was more important than looking brave. Remember, Jinwoo said, as they practiced in the training room, the shadow maw feeds on pure fear, but it cannot feed on fear that has a purpose. What do you mean? Thessara asked. Being scared for yourself makes you weak. Being scared for others makes you strong. Thessara nodded, though she still looked nervous. Tomorrow was the contest, and she would face a real shadow maw for the first time. Zemoth had been training his own student, a young Helixian named Velthar. Unlike Thessara, Velthar was confident and proud. He had been taught that fear was shameful and that only perfect technique could lead to victory. "Tomorrow you will show these fools what proper training achieves," Zemoth told his student. "The humans' primitive methods will fail, and order will be restored to the guild." The next morning, both hunting parties prepared to leave for the Titan asteroid field. Kael'tor watched from the command center as the ships departed. Jinwoo's team included Thessara and 3 other young hunters from different species. There was Grix, a bear-like creature with thick fur, Senna, a tall blue-skinned alien with telepathic abilities, and Kor, a small reptilian with sharp claws. Zemoth's team was more traditional. Besides Velthar, he had chosen 3 experienced hunters who could demonstrate proper guild techniques. The Titan asteroid field was a dangerous place. Huge rocks floated in space, some as big as moons. Strange energy storms crackled between them, and the darkness was perfect for predators to hide. "Remember the plan," Jinwoo told his team as they approached the hunting ground. "Stay together, watch each other's backs, and do not try to be heroes." Zemoth's voice came over the radio. "Human, we will show you how real hunters work. Velthar will kill his Shadow Maw within the first hour. Good luck," Jinwoo replied calmly. Both teams split up and began their hunt. Zemoth led his group toward the largest asteroid, where Shadow Maws were known to nest. His plan was simple and direct. Find the creature, corner it, and kill it with superior firepower and technique. Jinwoo took a different approach. Instead of hunting the Shadow Maw directly, he had his team look for signs of other creatures in distress. Shadow Maws often left survivors who were too scared to fight back. "There," Thessara pointed with one of her forearms. "I see something moving near that small asteroid." They found 3 guild hunters trapped in a cave. Their weapons were dead, and their ship was destroyed. They had been hiding for 2 days, terrified that the Shadow Maw would find them. "We have to help them," Thessara said immediately. "That is not part of the contest," Grix pointed out. Jinwoo smiled. "Kid's right, we help them first, then worry about the contest." As they prepared to rescue the trapped hunters, sensors detected movement in the asteroid field. Something big was coming toward them. "Shadow Maw," Senna warned, her telepathic abilities picking up the creature's hunger. The monster appeared from behind a large rock. It looked like a giant wolf made of shadow and starlight. Its eyes glowed with evil hunger, and darkness flowed around it like smoke. But something was wrong. This Shadow Maw was much larger than it should be. It was not just feeding on fear, it was feeding on terror. "Jinwoo," Thessara said quietly. "There is something else out there. Something that scared the Shadow Maw." Before Jinwoo could respond, Zemoth's voice crackled over the radio. "Emergency, we are under attack. This is not a Shadow Maw, it is something much worse." Through the static, they could hear sounds of battle and screams of panic. Jinwoo made a quick decision. "New plan. We save Zemoth's team first." "But the, contest?" Kor began. "Forget the contest," Jinwoo said firmly. "People are dying." They raced toward Zemoth's location, but what they found was chaos. A massive creature was attacking the traditional hunting party. It was not a Shadow Maw. It was a devourer, an ancient predator that consumed entire ecosystems. The devourer looked like a mountain with tentacles. Its mouth was big enough to swallow a spaceship. Where the Shadow Maw fed on fear, the devourer simply destroyed everything it touched. Zemoth's team was scattered and panicking. Their perfect formations had broken down and their advanced weapons barely scratched the monster's hide. "Velthar is trapped," Zemoth called out. His student was pinned under debris, unconscious and bleeding. Without hesitation, Thessara flew toward the trapped hunter. "I will get him." "No," Jinwoo shouted. "It is too dangerous." But Thessara was already moving. She used her forearms to lift the heavy debris while the devourer's tentacles reached for her. For a moment, Jinwoo thought she would freeze with fear like she always did. Instead, Thessara surprised everyone. She was scared, terrified actually, but she did not let the fear stop her. She was scared for Velthar, scared for her teammates, scared for everyone who might die if she failed. Just like Jinwoo had taught her, She used that fear to make herself stronger. Grix, Senna, cover her, Jinwoo ordered. The team worked together using tactics that would have shocked traditional guild hunters. They did not try to kill the devourer. It was too big and too strong. Instead, they focused on saving lives. Core used his claws to cut through twisted metal. Grix used his strength to carry wounded hunters to safety. Senna used her telepathy to coordinate the rescue while Jinwoo kept the monster distracted with hit-and-run attacks. But it was Thessara who made the difference. When she reached Velthar, the young Helixian was barely conscious. "Why?" he whispered. "Why are you helping me? I am your enemy in this contest." Thessara looked at him with her big black eyes. "Because that is what hunters do. We protect people." She lifted him carefully and carried him to safety, even as the devourer's tentacles crashed down around them. The rescue took 3 hours. When it was over, both hunting parties were exhausted, but everyone was alive. Zimoth floated near Jinwoo, his energy form dimmer than usual. "You saved us," he said quietly. "Your student saved my student." "That is what we do," Jinwoo replied. Kael'tor's voice came over the radio. "All teams return to base immediately. The contest is over." "Who won?" someone asked. There was a long pause. Then Kael'tor said, "Everyone won, and everyone lost. We have much to discuss." Back on the station, the Guild Council met in emergency session. Word of the rescue had spread quickly, and everyone wanted to know what had happened. "The humans' methods are unorthodox," admitted Velkoth, the senior trainer. "But they work." Thessara showed courage beyond her years, added another council member. "She risked her life to save a rival." Zimoth stood before the council, his energy form pulsing slowly. "I was wrong," he said. "I believed that tradition and technique were all that mattered. But today I learned that honor without compassion is worthless." "What are you saying?" Kael'tor asked. "I am saying that perhaps it is time for the guild to learn new ways. The human student did not just hunt a monster, she saved lives. That is true hunting." Thessara stood beside Jinwoo, still covered in dust from the rescue. She looked tired but proud. "You did good, kid," Jinwoo told her. "I was scared the whole time," she admitted. "I know. But you did not let fear control you. You controlled it." Kael'tor looked at Jinwoo with new respect. "It seems your methods have merit, human. Perhaps it is time for the guild to reconsider some of our oldest traditions." Jinwoo shrugged. "I just taught her to care about others. The rest she figured out herself." "Will you stay and train more of our young hunters?" Kael'tor asked. Jinwoo looked at Thessara, who was talking excitedly with the other neophytes about the rescue. For the first time since he had known her, she looked confident and happy. "Yeah," Jinwoo said. "I think I will." But neither of them knew that the real test was still coming. The devourer they had faced was just a scout. Somewhere in deep space, a much larger threat was heading toward guild territory, and when it arrived, the guild would need every hunter they could get, human and alien alike. 2 months had passed since the devourer incident. Jinwoo had become an official trainer at the guild, and his methods were spreading throughout the organization. Young hunters from dozens of species came to learn his techniques. But today brought terrible news. Kael'tor stood in the main command center staring at reports from the outer rim of guild territory. His yellow eyes were filled with worry. "How many?" he asked. 17 colonies have gone silent," reported the communications officer. "And we are detecting massive energy signatures moving toward the core worlds." Jinwoo entered the command center with Thessara and several other students. The young alien had grown confident over the past weeks, but she could sense the tension in the room. "What's happening?" Jinwoo asked. Kael'tor turned to face him. "The entropy swarms have returned." Jinwoo had never heard that name before, but the way everyone in the room went quiet told him it was bad. "What are entropy swarms?" he asked. An old hunter named Drakthar stepped forward. He was missing one arm and had scars covering his gray skin. "They are the death of worlds, human. Creatures that break down matter itself. Everything they touch turns to dust. How do you fight something like that? You do not, Drakthar said grimly. You run, and hope they do not follow. Kael'tor pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy. Red dots marked the locations where colonies had been destroyed. The pattern was clear. The swarms were heading straight for the Guild's home territory. The Galactic Council has requested our help, Kael'tor announced. They want the Guild to coordinate the defense of the core worlds. But Master, Velkoth protested, our traditional hunting methods are useless against entropy swarms. They cannot be tracked, cornered, or killed in the usual ways. I know, Kael'tor said. That is why I'm making an emergency decision. He turned to Jin Wu. I am officially suspending the Guild's ban on human participation. We need every advantage we can get. Jin Wu felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. What do you need me to do? Train as many hunters as possible in your methods. We have perhaps 2 weeks before the swarms reach inhabited space. 2 weeks to train an army? Jin Wu shook his head. That's not enough time. It has to be enough, Kael'tor said firmly. Over the next few days, Jin Wu worked harder than he had ever worked in his life. His partner Yuna Park arrived with a team of human military advisors, including tactical expert Taijun Oh and medic Minji Choi. You look terrible, Yuna told Jin Wu when she saw him. Thanks, Jin Wu replied tiredly. Good to see you too. Seriously, when was the last time you slept? Jin Wu could not remember. He had been training hunters around the clock, teaching them to think differently about combat. The swarms are not like other enemies, he explained to a group of new students. They do not have emotions or fears. They just consume. So we have to be smarter than they are. Zemoth, who had become one of Jin Wu's most dedicated supporters, raised a question. How do we fight something that cannot be reasoned with or frightened? We adapt, Jin Wu said simply. We work together, we protect each other, and we never give up. Thessera had become his best student and now helped train the newer hunters. She was teaching a young Vorthak how to use fear as a tool instead of a weakness. Remember, she told him, being scared for your friends makes you stronger than being brave for yourself. The first test of their new methods came when a scout group of entropy swarms attacked a mining station on the edge of Guild space. A mixed team of human-trained hunters responded to the emergency. Jin Wu watched the battle through long-range sensors. The swarms looked like clouds of glittering dust, but wherever they touched solid matter, it simply disappeared. Traditional weapons are useless, reported the team leader. Energy blasts just pass right through them. Then do not use energy weapons, Jin Wu radioed back. Use the environment. Channel them into the asteroid field. The hunters followed his advice. Instead of trying to destroy the swarms directly, they used gravitational fields to push them into dense asteroid clusters. When the swarms consumed the asteroids, the resulting explosions disrupted their formation. It is working, the team leader reported. They are retreating. But Jin Wu knew this was just the beginning. The main swarm force was still coming, and it would be much larger. 3 days later, long-range scouts brought word that made everyone's blood run cold. The main swarm is the size of a small moon, the scout reported. It has consumed everything in its path. Entire star systems have been reduced to empty space. Kael'tor called an emergency meeting of all senior hunters and human advisors. We cannot evacuate everyone in time, he said. We have to make a stand here. Here? Velkoth looked shocked. Master, if we fail, the Guild's home station will be destroyed. If we run, billions of innocent people will die, Kael'tor replied. The Guild was founded to protect life. Now we face our greatest test. Jin Wu studied the tactical displays. The numbers looked impossible. Even with all their new training methods, they were vastly outnumbered. We need more help, he said finally. From where? Asked Taijun. The council fleets are already on their way, but they will not arrive in time. Jin Wu smiled grimly. Not from the council, from our students. Over the next day, Jin Wu and his team sent out a call across the galaxy. Every hunter who had been trained in human methods was asked to come to the guild's home station. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of ships began arriving, not just guild members, but also independent hunters, mercenaries, and even some former criminals who had been reformed through Jinwoo's training programs. They came, Thessara said in wonder as she watched the ships dock. All of them came. Of course they did, Jinwoo replied. That is what family does. Zemoth approached them, his energy form brighter than usual. Human, I have been thinking about our defensive strategy. What about it? Traditional guild tactics focus on individual glory and perfect kills, but your methods emphasize teamwork and protection of others. Right, so perhaps our defense should not be about defeating the swarms. Perhaps it should be about saving as many people as possible. Jinwoo nodded slowly. Go on. Instead of trying to destroy the main swarm, we focus on evacuation and rescue. We use small, fast teams to save civilians while larger forces keep the swarms distracted. It was a good plan, but it meant accepting that they might not be able to save everything. Some worlds will still be lost, Kael'tor pointed out. Yes, Jinwoo agreed, but some is better than all. They spent the rest of the day preparing. The guild's home station became the center of the largest rescue operation in galactic history. Thessara was put in charge of one of the evacuation teams. As she prepared her ship, Jinwoo came to see her off. Remember what I taught you, he said. Use fear as a tool, not a weakness, she recited. Protect others before yourself, and adapt to survive. Good. Now go save some lives. Thessara's forearms moved in a gesture that meant good luck in her species' language. See you on the other side, teacher. As the ships launched toward the approaching swarms, Jinwoo felt a familiar fear in his chest. But just like he had taught Thessara, he did not fight the fear. He used it. He was scared for his students, scared for the innocent people they were trying to save, scared for the future of the galaxy, and that fear made him stronger than he had ever been before. The battle for the guild's home station began at dawn. Jinwoo stood in the command center, watching as hundreds of ships moved into position around the massive space station. The main entropy swarm appeared on the long-range sensors like a dark cloud that swallowed stars. All teams, this is command, Jinwoo spoke into his headset. Remember the plan. We are not here to win a glorious victory. We are here to save lives. Thessara's voice came back over the radio. Evacuation Team Alpha ready. We have civilian transport standing by. Evacuation Team Beta ready, reported Grix. Defense Team 1 in position, added Zemoth. Jinwoo took a deep breath. All right, everyone. Let's show them what we learned. The entropy swarms hit the outer defense perimeter like a tide of destruction. Wherever they touched, ships and asteroids simply ceased to exist. The traditional guild weapons were useless. Energy blasts passed right through the swarms without effect, but the human-trained hunters were ready for this. Team 7, use gravitational mines to channel them toward the gas giant, Jinwoo ordered. Team 12, set up a crossfire pattern using kinetic rounds. Instead of trying to destroy the swarms directly, the hunters used the environment against them. They guided the creatures into gas clouds that exploded when consumed. They used asteroid fields to create barriers. They even used the gravity wells of nearby planets to scatter the swarm formations. It was working, but slowly. For every small victory, more swarms kept coming. Commander, Taejun reported, we are getting reports from the evacuation teams. Civilian casualties are lower than expected. How much lower? 90% of the targeted populations have been successfully evacuated. Jinwoo felt a moment of hope. Then the main swarm mass appeared on the sensors. It was enormous, bigger than anything they had ever seen. The creature stretched across space like a living nightmare, consuming everything in its path. All teams, this is it, Jinwoo announced. The big one is here. The main swarm ignored the smaller hunter ships and headed straight for the guild station. Jinwoo realized that it was not just feeding randomly. It was intelligent, and it knew that the station was the center of the resistance. Evacuation teams, You have 15 minutes to get all civilians off the station, Jinwoo ordered. What? About the hunters? Thesara asked. We stay until everyone else is safe. Kael'tor placed a clawed hand on Jinwoo's shoulder. It has been an honor, human. We are not dead yet, Jinwoo replied grimly. The main swarm reached the station's outer hull and began to consume it. Entire sections of the ancient structure simply vanished, taking with them thousands of years of guild history. But the evacuation was proceeding smoothly. Human-trained hunters worked in perfect coordination, getting civilians to safety while defense teams bought them time. Thesara's team was evacuating the last group of non-combatants when disaster struck. A piece of the station broke away and blocked their escape route. We are trapped, she reported. The main hangar is gone and secondary routes are blocked. Jinwoo checked the tactical display. The main swarm would reach their location in 3 minutes. All available teams converge on Section C7, he ordered. We have people trapped. Negative. Thesara's voice came back firmly. Do not risk more lives for us. We knew the dangers when we volunteered. But Jinwoo was already moving. He grabbed his gear and headed for the hangar bay where Yuna was waiting with their ship. Where are we going? She asked. To save our kid. They flew through the collapsing station, dodging debris and swarm tendrils. When they reached Section C7, they found Thesara's team, surrounded by a group of frightened civilians. I told you not to come, Thesara said as Jinwoo's ship docked. Since when do I listen to orders? Jinwoo replied. They began loading civilians onto the ship, but there was not enough room for everyone. Thesara made a decision that would change her life forever. Take the civilians, she ordered her team. I will stay behind and guide the swarm away from the evacuation route. No, Jinwoo protested. We do not leave people behind. You taught me that protecting others is more important than protecting myself, Thesara said calmly. This is my choice. She was right, and Jinwoo knew it. But that did not make it easier to accept. There has to be another way, he said. Thesara's big black eyes looked at him with affection and determination. You gave me something I never had before, courage. Now let me use it. Before Jinwoo could stop her, Thesara sealed the airlock and headed deeper into the station. She was going to sacrifice herself to save others, but Jinwoo had not trained her to give up so easily. Yuna, get the civilians to safety, he ordered. I am going after her. Jinwoo, no. Trust me. Jinwoo followed Thesara through the collapsing station. He found her in the central control room working frantically at a computer terminal. I can redirect the station's power core, she explained. Create an explosion that will disrupt the main swarm's feeding pattern and kill you in the process. Yes. Jinwoo studied the control panel. He had an idea, but it was risky. What if we do not destroy the core? He suggested. What if we overload it instead? What do you mean? The swarms feed on matter and energy. What if we give them more than they can handle? Thesara's eyes went wide with understanding. Overload the core so it produces too much energy for them to consume safely. Exactly. They will either have to retreat or be destroyed by the feedback. Working. Together they began modifying the station's power systems. It was dangerous work. One mistake would cause an explosion that would destroy everything within a light year. But Jinwoo had taught Thesara to be careful without being paralyzed by fear. Her 4 arms moved with precision and confidence as she made the necessary adjustments. Ready, she announced. On my mark, Jinwoo said. 3, 2, 1, now. The station's power core overloaded in a controlled cascade. Instead of a destructive explosion, it created a feedback pulse that traveled through the entropy swarms like a virus. The creatures began to convulse and retreat. The main swarm, which had been consuming the station's hull, suddenly pulled back as if it had touched something painful. It is working, Thesara shouted. The swarms began to scatter, fleeing back toward deep space. The immediate threat was over. But the cost had been high. The guild's ancient home station was badly damaged and many hunters had been lost in the battle. 3 days later, Jinwoo stood in the rebuilt command center, looking out at the repair crews working to fix the Station. The guild had survived, but it was forever changed. Kael'tor approached him. The Galactic Council has officially recognized humans as equal members of the guild, he announced. Your methods are being adopted by hunter organizations across the galaxy. That's good news, Jinwoo said. There is more. They want to offer you the position of Guildmaster. Jinwoo laughed. Thanks. But no, I am not a politician. I am a teacher. What will you do now? Jinwoo looked over at Thessara, who was training a new group of young hunters. She had become confident and strong, but she still remembered to be kind and protective of others. Keep teaching, Jinwoo said. There are always more students who need help. Thessara noticed him watching and walked over. The new recruits are doing well, she reported. They are learning fast. Good. What about you? Ready for your next assignment? Actually, Thessara said, I have been thinking. I want to start a new program. What kind of program? Exchange training. Humans learning from aliens, aliens learning from humans. True cooperation instead of just tolerance. Jinwoo smiled. That sounds like something your grandmother would be proud of. I think she would be, Thessara agreed. But more importantly, I think you would be proud of it. Years later, Jinwoo would often think back to that first day when his ship broke, down near the guild station. He had been just a simple bounty hunter looking for easy money. Now he was part of something bigger, a new kind of family that spanned the galaxy. The old guild had been about individual glory and ancient traditions. The new guild was about cooperation, adaptation, and the belief that protecting others was the highest form of strength. And at the center of it all was a simple human truth that had changed everything. Being afraid for others makes you braver than being fearless for yourself. Jinwoo watched Thessara teaching her students, and he knew that the galaxy was in good hands. The next generation of hunters would be stronger, kinder, and more united than any that had come before. The question was no longer, why do alien hunters trust humans with their neophytes? The question now was, how can we work together to protect everyone? And Jinwoo knew they would find the answer, one student at a time.